Hi, today we'll be showing how to assemble the new RoboSavvy Comprehensive to Premium Upgrade Kit on your Comprehensive Kit. This is what you will be receiving from RoboSavvy. If you purchase the pack, you will receive the charger, the controller, the LiPo, and also a set of 4 cables to connect to the sensor ports. To perform the assembly, you need this, and you will also need some additional parts from your Bioloid kit. We will need 4 of these brackets, some S4 bolts and nuts. You will also need to get some Velcro from a local hardware store. You need to begin by removing the CM5 from your robot and expose the interior. For the next part, you will need to disassemble this top cover. It has several screws around it. We have already removed it for the purpose of this video. So you will need to disassemble this, and you will also need to disassemble these servos to separate them from the main structure. You will find some screws here. And some screws on this other side as well. So once you remove all the screws, you just remove the servo from the casing, and you need to do this for this servo and for this servo as well. We now need to remove this bracket here. We have also removed the screws already for the purpose of this video. It has 4 screws, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So you just need to remove it. And that's it. So from here we will actually start the assembly process of the new parts. So we have now removed the arms from the main structure. We have also removed these brackets. So we will take them out. And we will now use 4 of these brackets. They will be used, we will assemble 2 on each bracket. And their purpose is to serve as spacer, is to create height and the support point where we will then attach the microcontroller. You will need to use S4 screws and simply attach them directly onto the brackets. So 1, 2, and 3. You just place a nut on the underside. It already has the necessary shape to hold the nut in place, and then you bolt it together, and that's it. And you need to do this for all 4 holes on each bracket. Okay, so we have now bolted the spacers onto these brackets, and we will begin the assembly process now in reverse. So we attach these to their old place, here and here, secure them with the screws that were already in place before we started this process. So remember to attach 4 of these on each servo. So we have now attached these brackets to their former place. They now have these spacers on top, and we will now assemble them in their place on the main chest structure for the comprehensive kit. So, that's it. This one is in, and this one is in as well. We now need to secure them using their former screws. You will find holes here, 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 and one on this side. So you'll have 4 screws on each servo. Our arm structures are now back in place, and we will now assemble the upper part of the chest. Please check that this board is in its correct place, because the disassembly process might have moved it. And just slide this in, and then fasten all necessary screws, which are once again 5. One here, and 3 in the front. So we now have the bioloid back to its original shape, with one difference, which is we have attached these 2 brackets to work as spacers. These brackets were attached on top of the ones that already existed. Again, you will see this is not the normal humanoid build, because this robot is being used for a project that's being developed with a Portuguese university, which, by the way, you can follow on our forum, on our Bioloid forum. However, we managed to borrow the robot to demonstrate this assembly. This chest part is actually the original assembly, so it's appropriate for demonstrating the assembly process. We will now move to the next step, which involves the Velcro, which you should have gotten by now from a local hardware store. We will attach Velcro to these spacers, and also Velcro to this part of the controller. The reason why we're using Velcro and not proper screws is because of spacing. This new controller is meant to be assembled on a new chest frame for the premium kit. However, Robotis does not sell at this point the chest frame where this controller attaches. Therefore, the most convenient way we found was to use Velcro to secure it here, and it offers a convenient way to attach it and remove it. Ideally, if you have the opportunity to build a custom plastic part with the proper holes in place, you should get a more stable setup. From the test we've made, the setup with Velcro does offer pretty good results. We will now need to cut the Velcro to attach the microcontroller. You can use this bracket as a model for the size of the Velcro that you need to cut. So we'll just put it like this, use it as a model, and cut. You will need to cut 2 of these, one for each bracket. So we now take one side of the Velcro, put it here, and the other side, put it here. And now we take the corresponding parts and stick them to the microcontroller here and here. Okay, so we are now ready to assemble the microcontroller on the Bioloid. At this point, it is important to discuss where we're going to place the battery. Again, the premium kit includes a different frame for the chest, which also includes a support for the LiPo battery. Because we don't have access to the chest, we therefore don't have access to attaching the support for the LiPo battery. So the solution that we thought would be attaching the LiPo in this space the Bioloid has here between the leg servos. The space is actually larger than the LiPo, so if you choose to, at a later point, purchase a higher capacity LiPo, it is possible to do so. We don't support that, mainly because of the connector, and that's why we are shipping it with the LiPo from Robotis. This LiPo, as a side note, has an added feature, which is an IC here, which regulates current charge and discharge. So this actually helps maintain the health of the LiPo throughout its life. So the LiPo will be attached here. And because the LiPo is attached here, the microcontroller will need to be assembled in this direction so that the connector can actually reach the power connector on the controller. So this would be our proposed solution. This cable is the cable that comes from the little PCB inside, and is the first one to be connected here. And you can actually use all the 5 ports to attach the existing cables. You'll actually only need 4, so you still have 1 spare in case you're making any custom build. So we have now assembled the controller and all the connections. Before we finalize the construction, there is one more thing to do, and that is to secure the LiPo. Again, the LiPo will be placed here, but it's not really secured properly. So what we suggest is that you get one more piece of Velcro, use the battery as a mold for the size. So now that we have the Velcro, we will attach a piece of the Velcro to the bottom of the battery. Now the other side should go on that surface right there. Because it's a bit far and hard to reach, we'll just use a little trick. We'll just put it here and then push it down, and it should adhere properly. Again, this offers a convenient way to attach and detach the battery, and you now just need to connect it. So the controller is now all ready to run. This controller uses the new Roboplus suite, and most of the motions should be compatible with this Bioloid, because the design of the premium kit is quite similar. There is a difference in weight distribution, because you now don't have the heavy battery up here. You'll probably also notice that when editing your own motions. But other than that, the design of the robot, the shape and the size, they are quite similar. One final note, to program this controller, you will use the serial cable that you already have from your comprehensive kit. This cable works on the CM5 and also on the new CM510. And to charge your battery, you will need to use your existing SMPS as well. The SMPS you have for the comprehensive can be connected directly to this controller in case you want to feed the robot from a wall plug, or for charging purposes you connect this to the charger that is included in the pack and connect the charging cable. Be sure to disconnect it from the main controller. Take the battery and plug it here. This charger is actually quite versatile because it can not only charge the Robotis LiPo batteries, but it can also charge any 3S and 2S battery, that is 7.4 volt and 11.1 volt battery. So this concludes our presentation on assembling the RoboSavvy Comprehensive to Premium Upgrade Pack. So you now have a brand new microcontroller, a LiPo battery, twice as much memory for motions and for action programs, and 6 analog ports. Remember to check our website for both the Robotis analog sensors, the gyro used for self-balancing, and also generic Spartan sensors, which you can use by adapting the cables we are including in the pack. As a final note, if you're using Zigbee, remember the CM510 uses a different form of connector for the Zigbee modules. It uses the now called ZIG110, and it's an external module that connects to a small connector on this end.